Great to be here with you guys today. Kathy Engelbert is cooked. Well done. Put her in the air fryer and forgot about her. Put her in the oven and left her in 30 minutes too long. Kathy Engelbert is cooked. She's finished. If there is a league for 2026, Kathy Engelbert's not going to be in charge of that league.
Shocking. Referees caught red-handed taking bribes before the Indiana Fever versus Las Vegas Aces semifinal. Fans are furious, players are outraged, and the WNBA may never recover from this scandal.
Let's talk about what may be a real pivot point in the history of the WNBA, and I think what has transpired over the last 3 or 4 days may have gone a long way towards possibly helping Caitlin Clark in this league. Because the fact is, the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the NBA, they weren't going to listen to Indiana Fever fans. They weren't going to listen to Caitlin Clark fans.
How did this even happen? And why does it feel like the game was rigged before the ball was even tipped? Let's break it down. From the moment this referee crew was announced, fans knew something was wrong. Isaac Barnett, Randy Richardson, and Jana were the exact same officials who botched the infamous Lynx versus Mercury game.
You know those really bad referees? You know those really bad referees from the Minnesota Lynx game against Phoenix Mercury? Not only have they been rewarded by getting another semifinal game, all three of them, not one, not two, but three, the same exact crew are refereeing the Indiana Fever tonight for less than 48 hours later, because this is an afternoon game.
That disaster left Nafessa Collier limping off the court, Cheryl Reeve suspended, and an entire fan base screaming corruption. And instead of accountability, the WNBA doubled down and handed the same 3 referees Caitlin Clark's biggest playoff test yet. That's not just reckless, it's malpractice. Fans didn't hold back. Social media exploded with the word corruption. One clip shows Cheryl Reeve saying it plain and simple. The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinal playoff worthy, is malpractice.
And this is the look that our league wants, for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried not to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out. And probably has a fracture. And so if this is what our league wants, okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating. It's bad for the game. The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy is malpractice.
That's a head coach calling out the league's leadership on live television, and what was her reward? Suspension, fines, punishment for telling the truth.
The news just came out that Coach Cheryl Reeve was fined $15,000 for her comments made about the referees, and Coach Becky Hammond and Coach Steph White were both fined $1,000 for pretty much standing up for Coach Cheryl Reeve and saying that some of her points were valid. So it truly seems like Kathy is cracking down on this referee talk.
This isn't paranoia, it's a pattern. In that Lynx Mercury game, Alyssa Thomas hacked Collier over and over, 0 whistles. When Reeve demanded accountability, she was silenced.
But last night, Nafessa Collier got injured by Alyssa Thomas. Now, the irony in all this, Becky Hammond calling out the physicality in the league, Cheryl Reeve losing her ever-loving, and we'll look at that. I don't blame her. I'd have lost my mind too.
Now those same refs are in charge of the Fever Aces matchup, the one series that was supposed to showcase the league's biggest stars. Instead of Clark versus Wilson, Boston versus Wilson, and Mitchell against Young, the storyline is referees and bribes.
But anyway, yeah, WNBA assigned to 3 officials it's awful. It's a bad look on the league. And I mean, I think we have even more, I'm not going to say like proof, but I think there is now a situation where it's not out of realm possibility with this blatant, like something this bad, it's not out of realm possibility that Kathy's sabotaging this league.
Look at the numbers. In the Mercury game, Minnesota had a 10-rebound advantage and still lost. Why? Because the refs swallowed their whistles every time Phoenix got physical. Alyssa Thomas stripped Collier across the body, clear contact, and somehow it was called clean. Collier limped off, fans saw it, and officials just walked away. Now those exact same officials are responsible for Clark and Boston's health in the postseason. Fans aren't imagining things. They know exactly what's happening. And here's where the outrage explodes. Kelsey Mitchell drives into contact all season and gets nothing. Meanwhile, Jackie Young breathes near the rim and gets free throws. Aaliyah Boston gets elbowed in the paint, called for fouls herself, while Aja Wilson bulldozes defenders untouched. And then there's Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest draw. She's been shoved, tripped, elbowed, even body-checked like it's hockey. Zero protection. Fans don't just see it, they document it. They post clips, they tag the league, and every time the referees look the other way. One fan summed it up. The WNBA says they want to grow the game, then assigns the most hated refs to the biggest matchup. That's not growth. That's self-sabotage.
You cannot say anything about the referees, which I actually think is ironic. Why wouldn't they spend more time investing in the referees and trying to get them better instead of cracking down so hard on anybody saying anything about them? It's wild.
But the corruption goes deeper. The Aces are the league's golden child. Vegas is the money market. The glitz, the ownership, the star power. The league wants them in the finals. Everyone knows it. So when the same crew that already saved Vegas with swallowed whistles is assigned again, it doesn't look like coincidence. It looks like favoritism. And favoritism destroys trust. Think about the consequences. If the Fever lose on phantom fouls or no calls, fans won't forgive it. Every whistle will be scrutinized. Every time Clark gets hit and no call, fans scream conspiracy. Every time Wilson gets a soft whistle, outrage explodes. And that's the toxic environment the WNBA created. Let's talk specifics. Isaac Barnett is notorious for handing out quick technicals. If Clark claps her hands after a missed call, tech. If Stephanie White protests too strongly, tech. Meanwhile, Wilson bulldozes Boston in the post. No whistle. Randy Richardson is chaos incarnate. One possession he calls touch fouls, the next it's WWE wrestling. No rhythm, no consistency. And Jana, fans literally call her invisible, disappearing when games get physical. That's the crew managing the semifinals. This isn't just incompetence, it feels like corruption. Because when the same referees keep appearing in the biggest games, making the same mistakes, punishing the same players, protecting the same stars, fans stop believing. And once fans stop believing, they stop watching. Sponsors stop paying. And the league's credibility evaporates. The Fever fought all season to make it here. Boston carried the paint. Mitchell played through fire. Lexi Hull battled through injury. And Clark sold out arenas every night. The reward, being thrown in front of the same refs who already embarrassed the sport. That's why fans are saying it feels like a setup. That's why words like bribery and rigged are trending. Because the WNBA had a chance to showcase greatness, and instead, the refs stole the spotlight. Cheryl Reeve warned everyone, when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt. There are fights, and this is the look our league wants.
How dangerous it can be. You're hearing it from the other series. You're hearing other coaches. You're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt, There's fights. And this is the look that our league wants for some reason.
That's not an outsider talking. That's one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball. She called it dangerous. She called it malpractice. And for speaking the truth, she was punished. That tells fans everything they need to know. The betrayal is staggering. The WNBA has spent the entire season running commercials begging fans to embrace the next generation. Clark, Boston, Reese, the rookies driving record ratings. And when the playoffs arrive, what does the league do? Assigns the very refs fans despise. Instead of showcasing competition, they showcase corruption. And the irony is brutal. Caitlin Clark is the league's cash cow. She sells jerseys, fills arenas, shatters TV ratings. She puts money directly into the league's pockets. Yet instead of protecting her, they've set her up to get hammered with no calls. That's not just incompetence, that's biting the hand that feeds you. Fans aren't stupid. They don't demand special treatment. They demand fairness. They want to see stars shine, not refs dictate outcomes. And right now, instead of talking strategy and matchups, fans are debating bribes and favoritism. Instead of hyping Clark versus Wilson, they're asking if the game was rigged before it started. And that's the core problem. Once fans believe the league is rigged, you've lost them. No marketing campaign can fix that. No highlight reel can erase it. Credibility is everything. Without it, every game feels tainted. The Fever versus Aces could have been the series of the year. Instead, the headline is referees caught taking bribes. And until the WNBA addresses this crisis, every whistle will be questioned, every foul debated, every outcome doubted. So what do you think? Is this pure incompetence, or was the game rigged from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're still watching, drop Protect Caitlin so we know you're part of the real conversation.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
Stephanie White didn't just lose her cool after Game 3. She declared war on the WNBA itself. In one of the most emotional post-game interviews of her career, she demanded nothing less than a league-wide investigation. And the reason is simple. What went down between the Indiana Fever and the Las Vegas Aces wasn't basketball. It was a heist carried out in plain sight.
And yes, we lost the game, but I'm here to tell you, the refs did it again. I have all the proof and all the evidence. Every single call. Yeah, they didn't call much the first quarter, but by the second and third quarter, when we build a 6-point lead, we have a tie game, and you called the exact opposite calls on us when it's happening to us and we don't get the same treatment? Come on.
From the opening tip, it felt like the Fever were playing against two opponents, the defending champs in front of them, and the referees who seemed determined to tilt the game. Whistles that came out of nowhere, challenges that were flat out ignored, calls so lopsided the box score reads like evidence in a trial.
Look it, Asia Wilson pushes her in the back, so she pushes her in the back. But of course it's on the Fever. Then this one's crazy. Nalissa Smith obviously fouls Aaliyah Boston. Pay attention because I'm going to show you what fouls are being called for the Aces. So we saw that foul. And this is a foul on Aaliyah Boston somehow. The special whistle Wilson. And look at this one. So you saw what Nalissa Smith did to Boston, but look at it. She gets this call when nobody touches her at all. The referees are so inconsistent. Asia Wilson does put her leg out super wide, moving screens, and they call the foul on Lexi Hall.
White herself put it best, a minus 31 free throw discrepancy across just a few games. Think about that, minus 31. That doesn't just happen by chance, and it wasn't just the numbers, it was the moments. In the third quarter, Aaliyah Boston tried to challenge a foul call on Jackie Young.
So now we're down by 2. Look at this. Aaliyah Boston's arm gets grabbed. She gets called for a foul. Coach White is trying to call a timeout to challenge for the second time this game, and they won't give it to her. This is ridiculous.
White motioned instantly. The bench was ready. Fans inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse braced for the review. And then, nothing. Officials didn't even acknowledge it. Seconds later, Chelsea Gray buried a three, flipping the scoreboard and ripping momentum straight out of Indiana's hands. The crowd went from electric to furious in an instant, showering the court in boos. That clip went viral online within minutes. Analysts froze the tape, rewound it, and circled the ignored challenge as the exact turning point that stole the game. But that was just one sequence. The pattern was everywhere. A'ja Wilson pushing off with elbows that never drew a whistle. Illegal screens that somehow resulted in fouls against Fever defenders. Phantom contact calls that handed Vegas free throws without a hand even being laid. Meanwhile, when Indiana got hammered in the paint, silence.
And this one's just crap. Look at this. A'ja Wilson, they both foul her. That's like 4 arms on her at once. We would have took a 1-point lead going into half, but no. But then they call this. So you just saw them hit you with 4 arms, and this girl doesn't even get touched at all. Does she get the foul? Yes. Look at that moving screen. What the heck? That's a football play. They didn't call that. Look at this. We're up by 5 at this point. And then Melissa Smith gets a free layup. Another moving screen and another shot, which ties things up. So you see what I'm saying? Right after those 2 moving screens, and then Lexi Hall gets called for that. Are you kidding me?
Over and over, it felt less like missed calls and more like a predetermined script. And that's exactly why Stephanie White finally snapped. Yet while the officiating circus stole the spotlight, there was another story unfolding on that court. Lexi Hull, a player who came in with her back still stiff from injury. A player listed as questionable heading into the game. A player most people didn't even expect to see logging serious minutes. And what did she do? She delivered the performance of her life. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 massive triples.
Kelsey Mitchell didn't play well. I agree. Lexi Hull, salute to you, Lexi Hull. There's not enough flowers that I can go out and pick to give to you. That's how impressed, proud, grateful I am that you're on this team. Bad back, doesn't matter. You hustled your ass off defensively. You were aggressive on the offensive end. You have this. You can't teach hard. And Lexi Hull has a whole lot of heart. Lot of heart.
She played through visible pain, grimacing after collisions, but never backing down. Diving on the floor, fighting for every rebound, knocking down threes that felt like lifelines every time Vegas threatened to pull away. Hull became the beating heart of Indiana's resistance. She embodied the fight, the sacrifice, the defiance of a team that refused to be broken even when the whistles were designed to break them. And that's exactly why fans rallied to her. Every bucket, every hustle play, every grimace of determination sent Gainbridge into a frenzy.
Help comes, kick out, Hull will fire, and hit from 3.
The arena knew what they were watching, a warrior sacrificing her body for her team. And here's the cruelest twist. On the very night Hull gave Indiana her best playoff game ever, her story was buried under the avalanche of officiating controversy. The headlines weren't about her career high. They weren't about her tying a franchise playoff record for threes. They weren't about her courage. They were about corrupt referees tilting the game. Hull deserved the spotlight, and instead it was stolen, just like the Fever's chance to win. Meanwhile, let's talk about the so-called MVP on the other side. A'ja Wilson, the face of the league, the reigning superstar. And what did she do? She bricked her way through nearly 3 full quarters. By halftime, she was 1 for 11. By the end of the night, 6 for 20, 13 points on 20 shots. That's dreadful for any starter in the WNBA, let alone the reigning MVP. but you wouldn't know it by reading the media coverage. Outlets bent over backwards to protect her image, talking about rebounds, blocks, assists, anything to cover up the truth.
So guys, this is just a funny story. I don't think there's much in this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this is intentional. Not that I don't think this is intentional. I know it's not intentional. Like, we can be very, very honest here. Like, we know that this is not intentional. But I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious. So, if you guys don't know, the commentators were the most, like, pro-Aces commentators ever. Like, it was the most pro-Aces people you will ever see that were commentating on on the Fever versus Aces games 1 and 2.
The truth is simple. Aaliyah Boston locked her down. Possession after possession, Boston forced her into low-percentage fadeaways and contested looks. Wilson wasn't stopped by bad luck. She was stopped by elite defense. And yet, despite Wilson's struggles, the Aces walked away with the win. Why? Because when shots weren't falling, the whistles made sure the scoreboard tilted anyway. That's why this victory feels hollow. It wasn't earned, it was handed. Jackie Young dropped 25. Chelsea Gray chipped in 15. Secondary players picked up the slack. And every time Indiana clawed ahead, the officials bailed Vegas out. That's not dominance. That's a protected escape. So picture it from White's perspective. She's watching her players pour their hearts out. Hull fighting through injury, Boston battling double and triple teams, Kelsey Mitchell grinding against constant pressure. And then she's watching it all get stripped away, possession by referees who refuse to give her team a fair shot. That's why she couldn't hold back. Her face said it all, and her words lit the fuse. It's pretty egregious what's been happening. The disrespect right now has been unbelievable. She didn't stop there. She demanded a league-wide investigation into officiating. Not a memo, not a quiet apology. A full-on investigation. Accountability, transparency. The kind of reckoning that could shake the WNBA to its core. Because make no mistake, this isn't just about one series. It's about the integrity of the league itself. Think about it. The WNBA is on the rise like never before. Caitlin Clark has been packing arenas. TV ratings are smashing records. New fans are tuning in every night. And yet, instead of protecting that growth, the league is letting games get hijacked by referees who tilt the scales. Fans see it. Social media sees it. Analysts see it. The only ones pretending otherwise are in the league office, hoping the noise dies down. But thanks to White, it won't. Her words were the spark, a public demand that the league either fix its dirtiest secret or admit to the world that fairness doesn't matter. That message is bigger than the Fever. It's bigger than one playoff series. It's about the credibility of the entire WNBA, because if fans believe the outcome is predetermined, why would they keep showing up? Now the spotlight is on. Game 4 looms as a survival mission for Indiana. 17,000 fans are expected to pack Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and they're not going to sit quietly. They will make every possession miserable for Vegas. And if the Fever manage to fight through again, if Hull plays with the same grit, if Boston keeps punishing Wilson inside, the noise inside that arena could change the entire narrative. But even if Indiana's season ends here, one thing is already clear. Stephanie White's demand for accountability has forced the league to confront what fans have been screaming all season. Officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's corrupt. And unless something changes, the WNBA's brightest moment could be overshadowed by its darkest scandal. Do you think the WNBA will actually launch an investigation, or will they bury this and hope the headlines fade? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're still watching, type Fever Robbed so we know you're with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the stories the league doesn't want you to hear.
It looked like Kelsey Mitchell had some things to say about her teammate Caitlin Clark and the current state of the WNBA. Tell you guys, Kelsey Mitchell made a big-time appearance on ESPN, and it has simply broken the damn internet. We seen the stellar performance Kelsey Mitchell had in her last bout, going up against the Las Vegas Aces. And I've been telling y'all, bro, and I'm going to keep on saying it. Kelsey Mitchell came out that locker room with a belt full of spikes, and she put it over the booties of the Las Vegas Aces.
Kelsey Mitchell just shattered A'ja Wilson's reputation and exposed what fans have been whispering for months: an anti-Caitlin Clark agenda at the heart of the WNBA.
So, lads, today we are going to be talking about the Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. Well, Kelsey Mitchell talking about Caitlin Clark. Look, Fever players are going to be asked about Caitlin Clark. Genuinely, like, every single time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you're a Fever player, you're going to be asked about Caitlin Clark.
This wasn't just about one game. This was about power, favoritism, and a league on the edge of being flipped upside down. So here's the real question. Was this the night A'ja Wilson's dynasty collapsed and the moment Indiana Fever seized control of the league's future? Let's start with the chaos that unfolded on the court. The Indiana Fever walked into Las Vegas as massive underdogs. They were shorthanded, missing 6 players, including Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. The Aces had their MVP polished up, their arena ready for a coronation. Everyone expected Indiana to roll over, but instead, the game turned into a masterclass in grit and exposure.
I mean, she laid them over her lap and got the spanking them. I mean, my goodness. The Las Vegas Aces looked like a shell of themselves playing up against Kelsey Mitchell, man. She played 34 minutes and had 34 points. Y'all do understand. I know I've been saying this a lot. She was scoring a bucket every 60 damn seconds she was in the game.
From the opening tip, the officiating was a disaster. Missed calls piled up. Lexi Hull was shoved, elbowed, and even tripped on illegal screens that looked more like WWE moves than basketball.
I mean, it feels like a physical game every game. Feels like it's been a physical season. But yes, I think, I feel like I've been on the ground a little bit more this series so far. But we just keep getting back up, so that's all you can really say.
And yet, the whistles stayed silent. Then came the moment that summed it all up. Kelsey Mitchell drives hard, absorbs clear contact from A'ja Wilson, finishes the bucket. And instead of getting the free throw she deserved, the refs slapped her with a technical foul. Even Vegas fans couldn't believe it. This wasn't officiating. It was theater. And it was obvious who the refs wanted on top. But here's the thing. Indiana didn't blink. They didn't fold. They responded by tightening up their defense, executing cleanly, and punishing Vegas every single time the Aces lost focus.
Mitchell teardrops one in.
And Wilson on her gets fire and lays it in left side.
Sims, they gave her just that space and she took it.
Sims at the foul line lets it fly again and hits it again.
Honestly, Sims is feeling it.
Kelsey Mitchell wasn't rattled. She was relentless. By the final buzzer, she had 34 points, silencing the Vegas crowd and turning what was supposed to be a coronation into humiliation. A'ja Wilson, she shot a brutal 6 for 22.
There's the A'ja Wilson. We all know.
On her MVP night, the supposed face of the league couldn't buy a bucket without a bailout whistle. And then came the words that set the WNBA on fire. Post-game, Kelsey Mitchell didn't rant. She didn't cry. She calmly laid it out. She called out the inconsistencies. She pointed to the favoritism. And she made it clear that Indiana wasn't just surviving. They were here to compete. Her comments carried weight because she had just done what no one expected. She embarrassed A'ja Wilson on her home court. On the biggest night of her season, Mitchell's statement wasn't just about a bad game. It was a direct shot at the WNBA's golden child and the system that protects her. Becky Hammon tried to spin it in her presser, blaming missed layups. But the truth was undeniable. Indiana outplayed Vegas in every single phase. And that's when Mitchell went even further, straight into the heart of the controversy swirling all year. Caitlin Clark. After months of polished interviews, Mitchell finally broke her silence. And what she said left the entire league stunned. Clark has changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball, Mitchell declared.
I think it was just like a match made in heaven, really, because I was, still at a young age to really, vibe and get to know these players for who they were. And then you bring in Caitlin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that. And I love the teammate and person in her because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make, what it is now.
Think about the gravity of that statement. This is a veteran who spent years carrying Indiana through irrelevance, grinding through 5 coaches in 8 years, losing seasons so bad the team was treated like a free win. If anyone had a reason to be bitter about Clark stealing the spotlight, it was Kelsey Mitchell. But instead of jealousy, she gave respect. Pure, authentic respect. She called Caitlin a teammate, a friend, and even admitted that without Clark, doors would have never opened for the Fever. Compare that to A'ja Wilson and Cheryl Swoops, who've spent the season throwing shade, dismissing Clark's impact, and feeding into the resentment. Mitchell flipped the narrative. She showed what true leadership looks like, recognizing a generational star without diminishing herself. Mitchell reminded everyone that before Caitlin, she was the one keeping Indiana alive. She laid the foundation, she carried the weight. And now, alongside Clark, Boston, and Hull, she's ready to turn that survival into a dynasty. And she made it clear, she's all in. At one point, she even hinted she'd take a pay cut to keep this core together. That's not just loyalty, that's a revolution. So here's the climax. The WNBA has been exposed. A'ja Wilson, the 2-time MVP, looked helpless without whistles to save her. The Aces, the so-called dynasty, collapsed under pressure. And the referees, supposed to be invisible, became the story of the night. But Kelsey Mitchell, she turned it into her stage. Her performance and her words didn't just end A'ja Wilson's MVP night, they may have ended her aura of invincibility altogether. At the same time, Mitchell shined a light on the elephant in the room, the league's fear of Caitlin Clark. The agenda to hold her back, to downplay her impact, can't be hidden anymore. Because when Clark's teammates are calling it out, the whole world takes notice.
What has it been like? Because certainly the world has been focused on her, but what has it been like as a teammate? Because sometimes people are stepping to her, but I feel like you guys are stepping right back in those situations.
I think it's just it's competitive nature, man. You know how it goes. It's just competitive nature. I think that we want to fight to, love on our team and be who we are and respect the game at the same time. So I think it's a lot of just competitive nature at the end of the day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And look, you guys have been plagued with injuries, including to Caitlin.
Yeah.
But you have the best sideline in the league, I feel like, right now. What does it mean to get that support during the postseason from the crew?
Oh, man, it's unbelievable. And I think the best part about it is that we have vet experience when it comes to Sydney Carlson, and she's a winner and she's a champion. And then you have people like Caitlin, who's a PG and can pass the ball. And so when I come on the sideline, I get feedback from some of the best players in the league. And so I don't take those moments for granted either, because I feel like it's a chance to see the game in a different route, and I get to, get to talk to them from a level of just them having confidence in me to make plays. So I love it. It's a good experience to have.
This wasn't just a playoff upset. This was a shift in power. Mitchell destroyed the myth that Vegas is untouchable. She elevated Caitlin Clark's legacy while exposing the league's bias. And she reminded everyone that Indiana Fever isn't just Clark's team. It's a unit built on resilience, loyalty, and belief. The Aces thought this would be easy. Instead, they walked into their own house and got embarrassed by the 6th seed they laughed off. A'ja Wilson's legacy now has an asterisk, not because of her talent, but because of the cracks Mitchell forced the world to see. And the biggest truth of all, the WNBA can't stop what's coming. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and the Indiana Fever are rewriting history, one scandal and one statement at a time. So what do you think? Did Kelsey Mitchell just end A'ja Wilson's legacy and prove the anti-Clark agenda is real? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button if you're riding with the Fever, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what happens next.